Hey, good morning, guys. Welcome to Monday Morning Leadership. This is Brad Krantz. Today, we're actually going to cover a couple different topics. Number one is going to be the problem and power of why, and that's, of course, from the 78 important questions every leader should ask and answer, and that's by Chris Clark Epstein. And then off of that, I'm going to talk about why. Start with why by Simon Sinek. It's a book I'm still reading. I haven't completed it yet, but I think there's a lot of great stuff in here. So I just want to share some tidbits from that. So again, the problem and power of why today. You know, the question is asked in the book, and the author asks Clark Epstein, why is it that if adults who understand on an intellectual level the need for 2 to 3-year-olds to learn about the world around them by asking questions are then driven crazy by the sound of yet another why? Well, she believes the frustration comes from results resentment that the child didn't answer their first question. And I think, you know, if you're like me, if you've had kids, yeah, you're like, you told them why. I got to where I'd answer my girls when they'd keep asking why, I'd just go, why not? You know, you do get tired of answering the questions. But, you know, if you're a successful parent, you're really learning that the child's way, it's really their way into the learning process, isn't it? You know, children really have to ask more whys because they're asking questions in order to understand, and that learning happens under the surface with that. You know, and then the repeated whys push the answer beyond the surface, okay? And so that why takes them to the details that they need to satisfy their curiosity, right? So notice that a child's whys will stop when they have enough information to satisfy their quest. Right? But, and here's a big but, repeatedly asking why of adults like me can have a different, less favorable result. We're going to just share a couple ideas from the author on this, but I think this is kind of interesting. You know, an adult, when they're confronted with a barrage of whys, may feel as though their authorities being questioned, their reputations being challenged, or their expertise is being doubted. And it might be, but isn't that interesting? Right? We don't approach the question of why the way kids do. And she suggests, and I agree, that this isn't a great way to start a dialogue. But why does get you under the surface, the place that you need to go in order to solve problems and expose underlying issues and uncover problematic attitudes, right? So what's a leader to do? Well, she gives 2 suggestions for a leader to use why effectively. One of these is a little bit more technical, corporate, but I'm going to go through that because I think it is helpful to some extent. Number one is watch your tone of voice, right? I think we've heard from kids, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And I always think of an example in my mind of, you know, if you're talking to your pet that you love, let's just say it's a pet dog, and you could tell them, I hate you, I want to kill you, I'm going to wring your neck. And if you say it really nice, the dog doesn't know. Your tone of voice says he loves me. But if you tell him with an angry voice, I love you, I want to feed you, I want you to be my friend, if you're yelling at him doing it, the dog doesn't pick up what you're saying. They pick up the tone that you're saying it at. And I think it's the same way with us, right? That we can hear the words. You know, the most common problem with a simple question is the way it's asked, right? I mean, it's your body language and or tone, okay? It's always the case. Try the following exercise. This is kind of interesting. You can be somewhere quiet, your office or whatever, but ask the word why with the following emotions behind each why. With curiosity, why? With anger, why? With frustration, why? Or with search for knowledge, why? Or with innocence, why? You know, it's going to be in your voice inflection, your body language is going to really show what you're trying to say. They're going to pick it up. You know, can you feel the difference on that? You might try that as an exercise. You know, if you pay attention to the emotion that's driving your need to ask why, and you control it properly, I think you'll be okay. All right. And number 2, in a more formal, possibly, you know, this would be in a team meeting situation, use what's called the 5 whys technique. It was made famous kind of during businesses focused on quality. And just in case you don't know what that is, the 5 whys or 5 whys is an iterative, interrogative technique really just used to explore the cause and effect relationships underlying a particular problem. The primary goal, obviously, of this technique is really to determine the root cause of a defect or a problem by repeating the question, why? And this may not apply so much in interpersonal things, but I think it's at least interesting to go through. Each answer forms the basis of the next question. The 5 in the name derives from the anecdotal observation on the number of iterations needed to resolve the problem. And obviously, not all problems have a single root cause. If one wishes to uncover multiple root causes, the method has to be repeated, asking a different sequence of questions each time. So here's an example of a problem to kind of showcase this. The vehicle will not start. So number 1, why? The battery is dead. That's the first why. Number 2, why? The alternator is not functioning. Second why. Why? The alternator belt has broken. That's the third why. Why? The alternator belt was well beyond its useful service life and not replaced. That's the fourth why. And then fifthly, the vehicle was not maintained according to the recommended service schedule. So if you kind of keep asking why, it's to dig down. And we went through this last week. If you get referred to, again, it's kind of a bit corporate. I think it's a bit stuffy. It's not really so much my style, but I prefer Bob Tiedi's book. Now, that's a great question. You can always reference that on just asking questions like, tell me more, that type of thing. And this is similar, I think, in that sense, is just keep drilling down so you can really get to the core of it. She suggested just because asking why is difficult doesn't mean it shouldn't be asked. And I agree with that 100%. Asking why is a basic skill that all leaders need to master. We have to know. Leaders ask questions, right? Leaders need to know why. So now, again, let's step back and get to the foundation of why on a personal level. And as I suggested, we are going to be looking at, I'm going to pull up a screen share here really quick. I'm going to showcase, again, Simon Sinek, Start With Why. If you haven't read this book, I think it's a great resource. It's really, for me, it's been a book where I can't just sit down. I know somebody said they sat down and read it in like 3 hours, and I'm going, wow. I mean, you maybe took Evan Wood's Reading Dynamics or something. I can't digest it that much. I'm about 2/3 of the way through, but there's just a lot of stuff I think to mull on and think through and really drill down deep on this question. And again, it's Start With Why, How Great Leaders Inspire Everyone to Take Action by Simon Sinek. And what I found out when I've asked this is this screen share here is actually, this is my Facebook banner page and also my LinkedIn banner page. And it is, what is why? I'm wanting to ask that question. And obviously my deeper why for me is empowering people across the globe through authenticity, integrity, and leadership. But when I've asked people that question, because a lot of times people in business situation, they say, well, I want to make money, or I want to make money. And you ask them, what's your why? And they go back, well, I want to make money. Well, that's kind of, I'm going to suggest that's the what. You get in business for a variety of reasons, but what, if it's an entrepreneurial type thing, to make money. And then maybe how will you do it a variety of ways, your social media marketing, meeting people, et cetera, but your why is really foundational to why you're doing it. And I think a lot of people glaze over that, they pass by, and they don't really spend a lot of time and deep thought on that. So again, Simon Sinek, Start With Why. I'm just going to share a couple quick snippets here on the wisdom of why. He talks about the golden circle, in which why is at the center, and then how is the middle circle, and then the what is being the outer circle. Okay. And it all starts, he says, from the inside out, and it all starts with why. What? He suggests every single company and organization on the planet knows what they do, right? If you're a grocery store, you sell groceries. If you're Amazon, well, you move beyond just selling books, but all kinds of different things. Apple, computers, a whole host of other things. Companies can name what they sell, and they do that pretty good. But he suggests if you take that up another step, how some companies and people know how they do what they do. That really is an entirely different question. I'm not going to dig too deep on that at this point, but I think he brings up some really good things, again, to ponder on and meditate about. So most all companies know what they do. Some companies and people know how they do what they do. But here's the last one. Very few people or companies, he suggests, can clearly articulate why they do what they do. And he suggests there's a number of examples why people have missed it in the marketplace. They bring a product to market and it just doesn't go over them. They may have had a great product, well-researched, it's a quality product, good price, all that. But if people don't really know why they would buy that product, you're going to have some problems. I think a lot of us too, when we get into business and the entrepreneurial realm and maybe even just starting out our careers, I know I never really asked myself, I didn't even know that was a question you should ask, but why do I want to do what I want to do? When I started working in the grocery industry, it was real simple. It was a what? It was paying me per hour. I needed a job and it paid me per hour at the time, $2.74 an hour. That can tell you how far back I started. But that wasn't a why. The what was really to make money so I could have a weekly paycheck, build up income, save up some money. So he suggests when he says why, it doesn't mean to make money. Okay, that's a result. And that's what I'm kind of was sharing a little bit ago. By why, he says, I mean, what is your purpose, your cause, or belief? Why does your company, your business, your team exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Okay. When most organizations or people think, act, or communicate, they do so, he's suggesting, from the outside in. They're going from what to why. And for good reason, they go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. Okay. Think about that one. When we say what we do, we sometimes say how we do it, but we rarely say why we do what we do. And that, again, is my question on my Facebook and LinkedIn banners. What is your why? My question, what is your why? And that should take some time to think about it. If somebody can give you an answer in 2 minutes, you really haven't spent any time. You're just kind of guessing. You're picking something. You're not really understanding the question. So what is your why? I hope you received some value from the segment today. Please keep tuned in for some more questions that every leader should ask. If you got value on this week, please feel free to hit my subscribe button. If you like the content, would like to be notified of more to come, that's what you need to do. Also, please feel free to reach out to me and connect with me on social media at the links that I'll provide. As always, have an awesome Monday, guys. Bye-bye.